The Elder Scrolls Online just had their first update of the year, releasing what they're going to be doing in Update 45, and I think there's some really cool things to go over and get excited about. So in this video, I'm going to go over all the new information that we know, including some really exciting updates on Cyrodiil, which have been long awaited, and some quality of life improvements that nobody really saw coming. Make sure you watch the entire video so you know all the new details and what to be excited about. And as always, subscribing to this video really helps me keep making videos just like this, so hit that subscribe button and let's get started. Well, on January 9th, Gina and Jessica, as well as a few guests, announced some really cool changes coming to the Elder Scrolls Online, and a lot of them will be coming to the playtest server this coming Monday, January 13th. They've also released some notes on the website as well. So let's get started with one of the biggest announcements that I think they came up with, and that is the changes that they are going to be testing for Cyrodiil. Now, I do say testing because note that none of these changes are going to be final. They are truly just testing out something completely different in Cyrodiil. So I'm very optimistic about what this could mean, whether or not this is the final version. And it did seem like they were really looking for feedback. So if PvP and Cyrodiil is something that you've wanted to see changes on, make sure you get onto that playtest server and give them feedback so that you can get your say in what happens. In addition to that, they're not only testing this new change on the PTS, they're actually going to bring it to the live server channel so that they can test it on the live servers where the problems have actually occurred in the past. So I think this is another testament to them really wanting to make sure that these changes are something good for the game and that they want to test it and make sure that it's good to go and it actually solves the problem they're trying to solve. So what are they actually trying to do? Well, they're going to come out with this new Cyrodiil campaign called Vengeance, where players can enter and they will have specific gear and specific skills set for them already. So as an example, they gave the puncturing sweeps and jabs, a classic Templar skill where normally not only does it do damage, it also brings health back to the user. It can buff and debuff your opponents. While in the PvP version, it will strictly just do damage. So they're removing a lot of the other effects of the moves so that they can simplify it and the server doesn't have to do a bunch of extra calculations for every jab. And the goal of this is to get as many people into the Cyrodiil campaign as they possibly can. I think this could be really cool and something I've never personally experienced in Cyrodiil before. So I think this could be a really welcome change. However, I do think we need to see how it actually pans out on the live server and PTS, so I'm excited to see what people think and some of the feedback that comes out of this. And again, keep in mind, this is not a permanent change. They are simply testing this, including a test on the live server, so that they can truly see how it's going to affect the game. So I'm excited to hear that they're not just making a change, they're actually going to be testing and hopefully listening to the feedback that people are giving. Additionally, there are going to be specific sets that you can use, and while they will only appear while you're in the Cyrodiil zone, when you leave they disappear, but they don't disappear permanently. So the next time that you go into Cyrodiil and load in, you will have the same skills and gear that you had previously. Just note that during this test, access to some of the features are going to be blocked, including crown store provisions, items not included in the class templates, and more. During the Cyrodiil Champions campaign, all competitors are going to be at equal power levels, and it's all going to come down to skill. So I think it's going to be a different type of PvP as well. It's going to kind of eliminate some of those big builds that can come in and just totally wipe out players who are new. So I think this could be something really interesting, and I'm excited to see how it goes. Now, the next big update is that we are going to be getting 2 new dungeons, which is kind of typical for the first update that we normally get in the year for the Elder Scrolls Online. These dungeons do look like they're going to be very cool. It sounds like there's going to be some unique combat situations, and they are also Alliance War themed, which we haven't seen for quite a while. We have some Imperial City dungeons, but nothing really too closely related to Cyrodiil. Now note, these are the 4-player dungeons that we typically have in the game, and the first one is called the Exiled Redoubt, where we will be meeting up with the Imperial Battle Mage Lucilla, who we've seen in the Dread Cellar previously, and we're going to be investigating a family and some mysterious disappearances of soldiers. In the second dungeon, titled the Lep Seclusa, this is going to be a Moth Priest sanctuary and is actually in the Hughesbane region, whereas the first dungeon was in the Westweald region. So we're going to be helping the Moth Priest defend a precious relic from the sinister Orpheon and the tactician of his many armies of deserters. So something interesting here that I think could also be a tie back to where we're potentially going this year in the Elder Scrolls Online. Now we remember that Verona was a deserter from the Cyrodiil War, and she said she was heading west. Well, what's west of Cyrodiil? Hughesbane. So I think that this dungeon could be setting up some potential storylines there. Maybe she's joining this Orpheon guy and his army of deserters. Maybe she's going to be more on the Moth Priest side. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to work, but I think this could tie in to that clue that we got in Westfield from that random encounter. Now, I do think we're still going somewhere in Blackmarsh this year, but I think it could be more related to the Cyrodiil War, maybe something with the alliances. And of course, Razumdar is probably going to be making an appearance as well, since he mentioned that Blackmarsh mission. So I'm excited to see more of the story here, because the dungeons are typically a clue as to where we're going for the rest of the year as well. We are also going to be getting 2 new houses with Update 45, and they are looking very, very cool. The first is Castle Skingrad, which is located in Westfield, and is very, very similar to the Castle Skingrad that they had in Oblivion. So if this is something that you liked from Oblivion, you'll probably like the nostalgia here for this house. It also has beautiful floors and a lot of really cool rooms with some unique features. So I'm really excited for this house. I think it's going to be a really good addition. The next house is going to be Miramore themed with lots of those cool Miramore crystals. And it also features a broken glass mirror as the entrance, as well as a teleport option inside the house. Gina mentions that she thinks this is the first time that they've done this in the Elder Scrolls Online, and I think she's right. I don't think there's really been a teleport option, so I'm excited to see that they're adding some cool new features to houses, just like they added the cool flower feature and the Sea Bloom Villa. Now onto some of the really exciting quality of life updates that were pretty much unexpected, and I'm pretty excited to see. So first things first, they are going to be doing that starter zone refresh, which they had mentioned in the letter that came out in 2024 at the end of the year. So the starter zones of Betnik, Stros Mackay, Bleak Rock, Balfoyen, and Canarthy's Roost have all undergone a makeover to bring them more visually in line with the detail of ESO's recent additions, such as Westfield or the Telvanni Peninsula. So you can see in some of the images that they shared here that they have received improvements to their terrain transitions, materials and lighting, and atmosphere. They've adjusted signs and banners to highlight services such as crafting or banking locations, and the lighting has been adjusted so that you can better see and there's more attention to detail. They've also added more organic clutter and props so that this zone should feel a little less sparse and a little bit more filled out, more lifelike. Hopefully this doesn't mean that there's more tripping hazards, because I, for one, trip over everything, even the tiniest of pebbles that cannot be seen. But I mean, look at these visuals. You can really tell the difference here, and I'm really glad to see that they're taking some care for some of the original base game zones that came out 10 years ago. You can see the difference in the water, the ground terrain. It looks really good. So I'm really hoping that this is something that they're going to carry out to the rest of the zones as well, and this will be just the beginning of some of the visual improvements that we'll see. Now, in addition to that, they are also increasing the base mount speed so that new players joining the game, and anyone who has a new character for that matter, will have a significantly boost to their speed when they are starting out. This makes so much sense because normally you can run faster than your horse when you first start out the game and have no bonuses. So I think we're finally giving those horses the food they need so that they can go a little bit faster and you're not spending a very long time running around the zones. Now, for endgame players who have this maxed out, you probably won't notice too much of a difference, but I think that this is still a really great quality of life improvement for new players and new tunes. So I'm really happy to see it. They're also bringing some quality of life map changes to reduce the number of way shrines that you can see, so it's a lot less overwhelming for other players, and you can actually see and appreciate the zones of the map. I think this could be a really good update for new players. I know some players like to travel using the zoomed out version. I usually zoom in a little bit, and I think as you zoom in, you can see more of the way shrines, so they aren't going away completely. So I'm kind of excited to see how this turns out before I can really say if I love it or hate it. But at least for new players, I think this is a really great way to clear things up and make it easier to see what zones there are, where the main way shrine is. So I'm excited to see how this pans pans out. The next thing that I'm really excited about and nobody saw coming was that they've also reworked the craft green champion tree so that they no longer need to be slotted for you to benefit from their effects. So this is huge. This means that things like Homemaker, the deconstructing bonus, the infamous bonus, you don't have to worry about slotting these anymore. They will just be passive effects. So you can really truly get the benefits a lot of these green tree options that you haven't been able to utilize before. I think this is going to make the game a lot better and just feel a lot better. So I'm excited to see that they rework this as well. And something that they didn't super touch on in the stream, apparently they have also increased the visibility of the value of Mundus Stone boons, including reminders as to when and where you can find them. So I think this is going to be another really great thing for new players. You don't really think about Mundus Stones too much as a new player, and so I think this is going to be a good reminder that they can give you a really helpful boost. They also said in their website page that this is just the start of the general improvements, so they want to keep making more updates and additions, so I'm excited to see what else that they are going to be coming up with. In addition to that, probably one of the most exciting things for me as I am a console player is that they are going to be bringing mods to the consoles. That's right, that means that all those fancy PC add-ons like the Lazy Crafter, Trial Help, PvP Help, Parsing Help, you name it, console is going to get it. At least we think so. More information is going to come out on this, but I'm really excited and really hopeful to see that we get some of these really cool mods that PC has had for quite a while. I think it's going to be a huge quality of life improvement for the console games, and I'm excited to see that they are taking some care for the console, considering in the Matt's letter there were some updates specifically added for PC, so I'm happy to see that we haven't been forgotten. That's all I have for you guys in this video. I hope that you are excited about the changes to come. I'm optimistic about some of these changes, and I think that they could really be a good start to bringing some life back into this game and actually listening to players and hopefully taking their feedback into consideration when they make tweaks to Cyrodiil. I know a lot of PvPers have been really anxious or excited about this, so let me know what you think in the comments. I haven't played PvP in a while, but I think this could be a really interesting tweak to the game, and I'm excited to see more on the live test server and see what it's really all about. I want to give a shout out to my members. Thank you for joining my channel. I really appreciate your support. You can always join my channel by heading over to my page. You can also subscribe to my channel or like this video. Anything and everything helps me keep making videos just like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.